Two Geeks, Two Beers and a Laptop. Episode 22, Sega Mega Drive, or Genesis.
Fizzy.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, hello. Welcome back to a new episode of Two Geeks, Two Beers and a Laptop with me, Morgan, and Tom.
Hello.
Hello. Well, as teased at the end of our Power Rangers episode, this instalment is another gaming-themed episode. Our second one, all about the Sega Mega Drive, or as it was known in America, the Genesis.
Planet Earth, a scientist creates the ultimate machine.
At last!
A machine that will give him the power to journey into the Mega World. With thousands of colors, 16-bit graphic technology, and 10-channel Mega Stereo sound. The most advanced video game system in the universe.
Yes!
Mega Drive from Sega.
It was a games console. It was my first ever games console.
Same.
I ever owned. Really?
Yeah,
Yours
yeah,
same?
yeah.
Although mine actually belonged to my older brother. He's listening. I know it was yours.
Quite late in the day that I had this.
Well, it was Sega's third console after the SG-1000. I've never heard of that. And the Sega Master System, which
I have heard of that.
I had some more affluent friends who owned a Master System.
Yeah.
So the Mega Drive was released in Japan in 1988 and in Europe in 1990. I remember having it from quite a young age, sort of 6 or 7, so I'm guessing I must have got it sort of like 92, 93.
Yeah, I think I was much later. I think I had mine in like 96, 97 when the PlayStation was out. I was like...
That was when... I always do seem to be... I get a console whenever the next console's out.
Yeah.
So I get a PlayStation 1 whenever PlayStation 2's out, and so on and so on. I'm always a step behind. And so for this Mega Drive episode...
Yeah.
Right...
I'm really sorry.
If you're a regular Two Geeks listener, you may be aware of the odd and tangential links between the beers we're drinking and the theme of the episode. Tom got this one. I'm sure it's very nice. Smooth Scottish beer with hints of toffee, vanilla, and oak. Sounds delicious. Innocent Gun original because, Tom?
Well, in a lot of games, especially on the Mega Drive, you use a gun.
In some games, you use a gun.
Yeah. And Innis is Latin for hedgehog.
It's not. Let's drink. Yeah. Cheers. That is sweet.
Interesting.
So, for all the kids listening, on the Mega Drive, games came on cartridges, which you would insert into the console. Around 900 games were produced for the Mega Drive.
Right.
And obviously there's not enough time to go through all of them. That would take forever. So in this episode of Two Geeks, I'm going to be kind of like recollecting about some of my favourite games, and Tom will be chipping in as well, as and when he would like. And obviously, you know, we could and we may well do individual episodes in future on certain of these games, but this is kind of like a beginner's guide to the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
What the obvious place to start? Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. Our console actually came with Sonic. It was like in an in-pack game.
See, for me, I know I've never experienced a Mario game in my life.
Never played Mario?
No, I've never had any Nintendo system, and thus I never seem to have any friends who had
I never seem to have any friends.
Mario. And so for me, it was all about Sonic, and he was just a much more interesting.
I had a few friends who had, you know, the SNES and that kind of thing, but Mario was first. Sonic came after, and so almost by definition for me Sonic was better because Sega invented Sonic as a rival to Mario, and they went, right, what's that doing and how can we do it better? So it was literally the same game but like faster and more frenzied, so automatically better. So the first Sonic the Hedgehog game was released in 1991, so it turns 25 this year, this month as we record it, in June 2016. It was a side-scrolling platform game, and I'm sure everyone knows what Sonic the Hedgehog is. But you play as Sonic, who is a blue hedgehog with the power of super speed for some reason, who fights Dr. Robotnik, an evil scientist who keeps animals imprisoned in robot suits for reasons that aren't readily clear.
Sadly, unlike Mario though, Sonic's just lost it. Like his first 2 or 3 games were brilliant, and they've tried desperately to keep.
That's true.
New ones.
That's true. And Mario is still a very popular franchise.
They know Sonic is known as a duff brand now because every game they've tried to release, they should just release a new one like the original.
Do a remake.
People would love that style, just updated graphics.
We'll get on to the sort of the future of the Sonic franchise. So in the game, you collect gold rings to boost your health and to gain points. You jump on your enemies' heads to attack them and to free the cute animals from their robot shells. That was simple but fun. Not simple enough for one woman who appeared on Games Master.
Yeah.
The Games Master, the Channel 4 gaming themed show.
I remember you saying. What was it?
So there was a segment where the Games Master, you could ask him questions. And normally
Master, how am I supposed to be Dr. Robotnik?
Exactly, it was that kind of thing.
Patrick Moore.
Yeah, exactly. But in this episode, the woman was like, I'm on the first level of Sonic the Hedgehog, and every time I try to collect the animals, they hurt me. What am I doing
Collect
wrong?
the animals.
Patrick Moore was not impressed. He was not impressed. He was like, no, you're not. You're supposed to jump on their head. Like, it's literally the first thing you do. She could not have played that game for more than like.
She even was able to use the phone to call up.
So, Sonic easily Sega's biggest, most popular series. Sega. That was the most exciting noise as a kid. Hearing that booting up. So 2 years later, in 1992, you had Sonic 2, arguably even better, I think, for my money. It was more colourful, more complex. Introduced a sidekick for Sonic.
Tails.
Tails, a quick-footed fox. Real name? Do you know?
No.
Miles Prower. What? Yeah, Miles Tails Prower. How did it take you that long to get that? You're as bad as the Games Master woman.
I thought they just gave him a name. It was like Miles Prower.
Just a regular name.
Nice.
So in Sonic 2 there was a 2-player aspect, so you could race against each other in a special level, or you could just play collaboratively in the main game. 14 more Sonic games released since then, and that's just on the console. There've been, handheld and so on. But the 6th game, which was Sonic 3D Blast, that was the last one to be released for the Mega Drive, and because it tried to move with the times and have 3D animation, but I think part of the charm of Sonic was that 2D side-scrolling platform.
It doesn't work when it's in not first person.
No,
you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Well, Sonic Lost World was the most recent Sonic console game in 2013, released to I know your favourite, the Wii U. You bloody love the Wii U, don't you, mate? As well as on the 3DS and PC.
So when you see grown adults just playing like on the Wii U, it's like, you do know the PlayStation 4 is out, yeah? Uncharted 4 exists. Yeah. You do know, like people that play, I've said it before, people that play like Angry Birds and stuff and taking it really seriously, those Civilization
It's fine, it's fine to do it for fun, but when you play like, was it Age of War, Game of War?
And you're spending money on it to just get new patches. It's like, there are proper games out there, right? Cool.
You're not a snob at all.
No.
Second up on my list of favourite games. Now this was actually the original sort of pack-in title for the Mega Drive. It came with your Mega Drive when you bought it instead, but again then got later replaced by Sonic the Hedgehog. This was Altered Beast. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah.
Altered Beast?
It was, didn't they like fart and shit? Or was that another one?
Something completely different.
Isn't it a fighting game?
Yeah.
And I thought they would throw up and fart gas at their opponents and stuff. Am I thinking of another game?
I think you're thinking of something completely different. So I want to know what that game is. No, in this game, you play a centurion in ancient Greece who died and was resurrected by Zeus.
What am I thinking of?
To rescue... God knows. Zeus knows. You have to rescue Zeus's daughter from the clutches of a demon god. Okay. And one of the reasons I loved Altered Beast, me and my best mate used to love it, was because there's a dramatic opening sequence where you're resurrected by Zeus, and he's supposed to say, "Rise from your grave," and it's supposed to be really dramatic. But because of the limited sort of sound quality, it sounds more like "Rise from your grave." I'll just have a little blast of that.
Rise from your grave.
There's something beautiful about that music, that sort of music in those sort of games?
Well, we'll get onto that actually in the Streets of Rage segment.
Okay.
Spoiler: Streets of Rage is coming up, and yeah.
But also, I just remember like renting a game from Blockbuster or something, taking it home. That first moment you put it in, it's just exciting. It's your game for the next like couple of days.
So, did you notice there? He collects like a power orb, a blue power orb, and he powers up.
Yeah.
So there were 5 levels to Altered Beast, and by collecting 3 power-up orbs in each level, you could transform into a different beast to fight the undead hordes. So there was a were-dragon, a were-bear,
A werebear.
a were-tiger, and 2 different types of werewolf, each with their own powers. And actually on the Nintendo, on the NES, there were different beast modes. So you could be a were-lion or a were-shark. No, I found this on Wikipedia. You know, like beast mode, like the phrase beast mode has that song beast mode. And it says the mean beast mode is probably derived from this video game. No citation, just probably
Someone just went rogue.
Probably from Altered Beast, I imagine. But then I sort of looked into this. It's like, really? And I looked into it, and someone else was like, "Nah, it's from Transformers Beast Wars." Gonna go out on a limb, say neither of those are true. Don't believe it. Don't believe it.
You wouldn't get marks in your dissertation if you got that.
What's the origin of beast mode? Now, interestingly, a little twist on the arcade version of Altered Beast, not the console version, the original arcade version. The game ends with shots appearing to reveal that the entirety of the game was really just a movie production. As you can see here, we'll put some of these pictures on the website, but you can see there's just like a little clapperboard and images of everyone just having a beer and having a lovely time.
What's that then?
So basically, it was like a twist at the end that the whole game was actually just a movie.
What's that?
They just they throw a twist ending in there.
Hilarious.
Now, despite its popularity, there was never a sequel to Altered Beast. There was a game released on PS2 in 2005, but it was set in the present day and had a completely different storyline, but it was called Altered Beast. It had basically nothing to do with Altered Beast. I remember I was really excited. I was like, new Altered Beast! I thought it would be like, they do those games sometimes that are basically the exact same game, but with new graphics. I was really excited. Nothing to do with it at all.
Should be allowed.
But the lead designer on the original Altered Beast was a guy called Makoto Uchida, who also worked on the next game on the list, which is Golden Axe.
I did
play Golden Axe.
Well, I think I might have played Golden Axe on the what was the one that came after? Sega Saturn. Yeah, I think I played it on that. I didn't play it on Mega Drive.
So it was like a fantasy beat 'em up, sort of Conan the Barbarian, Jason and the Argonauts, that kind of vibe. Lots of muscular types with amazing names, very little clothing, with dragons and skeleton warriors. And it's set in the fictional land of Urea, where an evil entity known as the Death Adder has captured the king and his daughter and is threatening to destroy the Golden Axe, the kingdom's magical emblem. And you can play as one of 3 characters. Do you remember the 3 characters?
No.
So there's my favourite, the dwarf, Gilius Thunderhead, because he had the
What name?
he welded he might have welded it. He wielded the Golden Axe. So you could jump and chop people. He was awesome.
In these days of turning video games into movies, this is crying out.
Well, when Game of Thrones is at its kind of height of popularity, why not? The other character is a male barbarian, weirdly called Axe Battler, even though he didn't use an axe. He used a broadsword. For some reason they thought that was a good idea. And then the Amazon, Tyrus Flare. And on your journey, I told you they had amazing things. On your journey, you collect magic potions from these little sprites with sacks. And I remember you have to sort of chase them and kick them up the arse. That's how you get it. And you kick them and you go beep beep. But and then they get little. You just run around, kick them up the arse, and you get the potions. The more potions you get, the more powerful your magic becomes. Tyrus had the coolest magic because she had fire magic. And at full power, she could summon a giant dragon down. Remember this? The giant dragon would descend and toast everyone's ass.
Amazing. It really went for it that long.
Yeah. So once you reach Death Adder's castle and defeat him, you must then face a surprise final boss, his dad, Deathbringer. He comes home and he's like, "What's going on?" His dad.
Oh my god, it's Deathbringer.
And he's even more of a double-R bastard than Death Adder. One thing I remember from the Golden Axe games were the death noises. Do you remember this?
No.
Because they were really intense. So when you died, you went, "Oh!" And it was like, Jesus Christ.
That sounds like What's his name from Power Rangers?
It was super...
Dragosaur.
Yeah, Dragosaur. Tyrannosaurus. But no, they were actually sampled from Conan, the movie.
What, Arnie?
They're like baddies dying in Conan, and also the first Rambo movie, First Blood. They took the sounds, and there's a YouTube video where they kind of compare the two, and you can see they really are. That's where they got them from.
There you go.
So it led to 4 sequels and 3 spin-offs, Golden Axe. Most recently, I had no idea it was still going, Golden Axe Beast Rider, released to the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 in 2008.
Wow.
Yeah. So next up on my list, now this is a slightly different game, Megalomania.
No,
remember this? No? Rather more excitingly known as Tyrants Fight Through Time
Why do they call it
in
that?
America. So it had an awesome cover, one that had absolutely nothing to do with the game.
They did that a lot though, didn't they?
What's that? It's basically like a bald guy with a kind of exposed cybernetic eye, and there's
It's like Professor X gone a bit.
yeah, and he's got
Played by Christopher Lloyd.
and he's got like energy rays bursting from his head. Nothing to do with the game at all. So the game is a strategy game with 9 levels, but just incredibly kind of immersive and addictive. It's what's called a god simulator, and you play one of 4 characters: the fiery and aggressive demi-goddess Scarlet, the ruthless King Oberon, the mafia godfather Caesar, and the deadly mercenary Madcap. Now, whoever you play as, you have to face off against the other 3 characters, and each of you is controlling a tribe on this planet, and you have to oversee the development of your tribe across like billions of years, from like the Stone Age to the Nuclear Age, all the way up to like the Space Age.
Right. It sounds very complicated.
It was very, do you know what, it was really involved for a Mega Drive game, and your goal is to lead your people to conquer the entire map.
Right.
And you do that by ordering your followers to develop weapons and then send them out to destroy the enemy bases. And you can also form temporary alliances with your opponents. Sometimes they offer, sometimes you do. But once there's only 2 of you left, the alliance obviously ends because you have to destroy everyone to win the level.
See, back then especially, games were aimed at kids, right?
This was not like
Because
this was involved. This was involved.
I suppose you were playing it.
I was playing it, but like it was. I mainly watched my brother play it. If I'm honest, and he was 6 years older than me. But one of the main things I remember about Megalomania, apart from how complex it was the soundscape, because they had the music and the incredible voice acting. So you had Oberon, who was quite posh and camp. So if you asked him to form an alliance, and he would said no, he'd say, "No, I don't think so."
Really weirdly camp for no reason.
And or Caesar, if he accepted your alliance, he'd say, "Sissi, what nota?" It was great. I love those voices. So as you progress through the game, time passes and your race evolves. So they start out fighting with like catapults and swords, but by the end you've got like jet planes and nukes, and then eventually you have like spacecraft and you're shooting lasers and so on.
Yeah. Do you think it's one of those games where it felt really epic at the time? If you play it now, you'd probably finish it in an afternoon.
No, seriously, this game was intense. I think it's probably one of the most involved games on the Mega Drive, because something like Sonic, like back then you didn't really like save in the same. You could save, but you didn't really save in the same way you do now. So even though Sonic, there's probably actually like only like an hour of gameplay.
Yeah.
You could play it for months because it would.
Yeah.
You know. Whereas this, I think, actually had like it was intense.
The GTA of its day.
Yeah. And the game got progressively more complicated, because at first you just need to design the weapons, but then as you progress you need to mine the raw materials to manufacture the weapons. You need to use factories to manufacture the weapons. So it was incredibly nerdy, but it was kind of like Risk, by you know on the Mega Drive. Brilliant if you're into strategy games.
Meanwhile, Tom is just playing Toy Story on Mega Drive.
That was a good game.
What I could handle.
To infinity and beyond!
So next up, Road Rash.
I did play Road Rash.
Yeah.
It was so good, like heavy metal soundtrack.
Yeah.
And, so good. Yeah.
And
although again, I think I played Road Rash on like the PlayStation. I think I had the PlayStation version. Yeah.
So this is a game because I played. You can get like these ROM emulators, which basically you can play recreations of Mega Drive games on your laptop.
Can't play PS3 games on a PS4, but you can do that.
I don't think it's strictly legal, but
Still.
But you can play these Mega Drive games, and I played Road Rash a little bit yesterday to kind of get into character, but to prepare for this episode.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, exactly. To prepare for this episode. Do you know what? It's still really bloody good. Obviously the graphics are a little bit dated, but I was playing it and I was like, my heart was going. I was like, you get really into it. So
I really hope they bring out a new version.
Well, so it's a racing game released in 1991 about illegal street racing, but on motorbikes. It's a bit like Fast and the Furious or Biker Boys with Lawrence Fishburne and Kid Rock. And you have you just have to win races, you win money, you buy better and faster bikes, and the races get faster and harder and more dangerous. And that's basically it. You can also use money to repair your bike if you crash, or if you get busted by the cops, which can happen, you can pay a fine. But the thing I liked about it was you had to use like dirty tricks to win. Exactly. Yeah. So you would barge people off the road, you punch the other racers. They had weapons as well. They had like chains and bats and stuff, and you could like snatch it off them and beat them. Yeah. So it was kind of like a beat 'em up crossed with a racing game. And I think I was really like that ever before or since. Yeah. No one's ever really replicated that formula. So there were 2 sequels on the Mega Drive, followed by, this might be what you're thinking of, a 4th game, Road Rash 3D, in 1998 on the PlayStation 1.
Maybe that's right.
There was also Road Rash 64 in 1999 on the N64, unsurprisingly, and Road Rash Jailbreak in 2000, which was again for the PS1. Now, did you ever play Burnout?
Yeah.
The racing game Burnout.
That's great.
Awesome. It's sort of in the noughties on the PS2 and the PS3 and Gamebox, GameCube and Xbox. And at one point, the team behind the Burnout games said they were interested in bringing back Road Rash, but then it never happened. And he was saying, those were the games that inspired, the developer was saying, those were the games that inspired me to make Burnout now. And he's like, maybe we could do a new twist. Nah, never happened. Never happened.
Come on.
Could have been amazing. But hopefully, one day someone will bring back Road Rash. If not, just play the ROM emulator. Still really good. Okay, so next up, Flashback.
No.
You don't know anything about Flashback? No. Okay, that's interesting. So this was released in 1992, and for the time, dated a little bit now, the graphics looked amazing for me. It was just incredible computer animation for a console game, and we'll just watch the opening sequence now.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the slogan I read earlier? Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Nice. That was the slogan.
Yeah, because they were like, what are you doing playing Nintendo for? You do know the Mega Drive exists, and it's for games like that.
They're right. That opening sequence was amazing, but in game as well, all the animation was rotoscoped, which means they would film it live action and then draw over it and animate it.
Darkly, starring Keanu Reeves.
Very similar to that. So it meant that all the movement was very kind of fluid and slick, and it looked incredible.
Very good.
So it's kind of science fiction spy plot. You play Conrad B. Hart. He was a man who awakens in a jungle on the moon Titan with no memory of who he is, but he has a hollow cube which gives him a mission. So it's kind of like Total Recall kind of vibe as well, a little bit Blade Runner as well. So Conrad discovers that he had previously learned that humanity had been infiltrated by shape-shifting aliens. He was later captured and his memory erased. Why didn't they kill him? Don't worry about it. I never knew there was a sequel apparently to Flashback called Fade to Black, released on the PS1 in '96. A third game was also planned called Flashback Legends. It was cancelled when Delphine Software, who was the company that made the first two, went bankrupt. But there was a remake of Flashback released in 2013 on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 and the PC, which I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. No. But although the graphics were obviously far more advanced, it's actually kind of basically the same in the plot. Right. And it keeps the same kind of side-scrolling format of the original game.
Awesome.
Yeah. But the original, it's got like decent plot, amazing graphics, great gameplay. I don't know why no one's heard it. It's hugely underrated. I don't know why no one's heard of it. I was kind of, again, for this episode, I was looking at, best of lists, best games on the Mega Drive. Didn't make any of the lists, not on any of the lists. But at the time, it got great reviews, and apparently in France, I'm sure this doesn't stand now, but apparently at one point in France, it was the best-selling video game of all time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Why is it not bigger? Why is it not a bigger hit?
You'd be huge in France.
Yeah. Have you figured out what that farting game was yet?
No, I tried desperately to find it.
No.
I think I just might have dreamt it.
If anyone knows what Tom's weird farting game that he thought was Altered Beast was, email us at 2geeks, what was it? Podcast at 2geeks2beers.com or at Twitter at 2geekscast.
Yeah.
Please let us know.
It's something like two massive, like Godzilla type creatures fighting each other, and you can puke and fart and stuff. But
not Altered Beast.
No.
So finally, we're on to, I think, my favourite Mega Drive game of all time, the best of the franchise, which is Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah.
Young Bobby Engels has a problem. He needs to earn the respect of his peers. So he gets the special Sega Genesis fighting system. It comes with Streets of Rage 2. He saves $40. He gets more moves. He gets more control. Now things are pretty much okay.
I said chocolate chip. Say it. Say it.
Or as it's known in Japan, Bare Knuckle, Furious Iron Fist.
So these are what you call beat 'em ups?
So these are beat 'em ups.
Right.
A beat 'em up is kind of what Streets of Rage is, which is a kind of side-scrolling fighting game. That's a beat 'em up. A game like Street Fighter 2 is just called a fighting game. Yeah, those are the different.
Because I just loved it, just beat the crap out of people until you get through to the next screen. So good, so satisfying.
It was similar to Golden Axe, but with a contemporary setting. So you play one of three cops: Adam Hunter, Axel Stone, and Blaze Fielding.
Never knew they were cops.
Yeah. Well, they were cops who had gone rogue to clean up the city that was awash with corruption and criminal scum.
Cops with attitude.
Cops with attitude. And you could use anything at your disposal: your fists, bottles, baseball bats, anything to get justice.
So good.
Now on the first game, I don't know if you remember this, but if you press the A button on your controller, it calls in like artillery support. And like I guess this guy was meant to be like your cop mate. He would pull up and like shoot a rocket launcher, and it would like deal with all your enemies. But you could only do it once per level.
That's probably why I failed so much. I didn't know you could
You
do
never knew you could do it. I definitely knew you could do it because I'd always be furiously hammering the buttons, accidentally press A.
Jeff, no.
Jeff, no. And it would always be when there were really like two enemies, and you'd waste it. And that was like one of the one flaws in the first Streets of Rage game. In the second game, one of the reasons it's better, they trade that for you press A and do special moves. So the criminal forces in Streets of Rage are led by a gangster called Mr. X. And I don't even remember this. One of the cool things about the first game, so you get to the final stage, final boss, Mr. X, and he says, "Oh, do you want to join my criminal syndicate?" And if you say no, you just fight him, and if you beat him, you win the game. If you say yes, you get transported back 3 levels. And then, then if you fight through those levels again and then defeat him, you actually become the new crime boss, and it has a really dark twist ending where you become the new head of the crime syndicate.
That's quite like in recent games where it's all about different choices, you actually get a different type of game. It's an early version.
The Streets of Rage was followed by 2 sequels, Streets of Rage 2 and Streets of Rage 3 as part of there. There were plans for 2 further sequels for the Sega Saturn, but Sega pulled the Streets of Rage name during development after a disagreement with the developer about porting it to rival formats, apparently. Right. The game was, this is interesting though, they were developing a Streets of Rage 4, which the title got taken away, but they released it as Fighting Force on the PlayStation and N64, so there is technically kind of like an unofficial Streets of Rage 4 out there. But Streets of Rage 2 is easily the best. So in that, Adam, one of the characters from the first game, is kidnapped by Mr. X as punishment for his sort of part in the events of the first game. And Axel and Blaze must rescue him, accompanied by Axel's wrestler pal, Max Thunder, and Adam's rollerblading kid brother, Eddie, aka Skate. Do you remember this? Max was my favourite character because he was just huge and like super, he was slow and he was super powerful. He kind of looked like The Rock. That's definitely who would play him. He's basically like The Rock. one of the reasons I wasn't so keen on Streets of Rage 3, they swapped out Max for this new character, Dr. Zan, who was like an old dude who was like a cyborg with machine arms.
Rubbish.
Yeah. First name, Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Bring back Max Thunder. Max Thunder! What are we talking about? Streets of... So, we're talking about, in the previous episode, wikis. The Streets of Rage wiki, Dr. Zan, his bio just reads, Zan was a bizarre character. That's all it says. Zan was a bizarre character.
Don't know what they were thinking.
No. Bring back Max Thunder. So, Streets of Rage 2, kind of everything was improved from the first games. You had the special moves, the villains were better, you had it was more colourful, kind of more expansive, a bigger world, more exciting, and it's kind of like the beat 'em up to beat. It's kind of the number one beat 'em up game.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, like Nintendo, love the whole Double Dragon games, which were quite similar, I think. But for me, Streets of Rage is just so much more.
Yeah, and I think now Streets of Rage is pretty much held up as one of, particularly Streets of Rage 2, is held up as one of the greatest games ever made, like on any platform and any console. And I feel like
I play it now if I can get. Is there a port I can play with?
Oh yeah, you can play a ROM, yeah, unofficially. And whereas Mario and Sonic still kind of fighting it out a little bit. I feel like who cares about Double Dragon anymore? It's all about Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Now, another awesome thing about Streets of Rage and Streets of Rage 2, it also has an awesome soundtrack. You were talking about the music earlier. It was so popular that the game's music composer, Yuzo Koshiro, was invited to nightclubs to play the tracks. There's a review from Games Radar that says, its blend of swaggering house synth, dirty electro-funk, and trancy electronic textures would feel as comfortable in a nightclub as in a video game. And this is an amazing track from the soundtrack called The Expander.
That was like something by The Orbital, or whatever.
The Orbital.
The Orbital.
The Orbital.
And yeah.
Yeah, you missed me tragically on audio. You can't see my amazing rave dance moves. Yeah, incredible. So, I mean, that is it for my big favourites. I think kind of honourable mentions, a few notable omissions as well. Obviously, you haven't talked about Mortal Kombat, which was the '93 original, and the sequel were on Mega Drive. Street Fighter 2, Champion Edition. Both of those games kind of transformed fighting games, really. But I think those are so big, we'll probably give them individual episodes
they deserve that.
at some point in the future. A few other ones. Echo the Dolphin. You know what it is?
I don't remember anything about it. I can remember the title.
So it was released in 1992. You play Echo, who's a bottlenose dolphin who travels through time to fight aliens. It was known for being one of the harder games on the Mega Drive because it was kind of really expansive, set in this huge world. Not very intuitive at all. You kind of just had to figure out what the hell you were meant to do. But it was a very kind of beautiful game to look at. And there were 3 sequels, with a 5th game in development for the Dreamcast until that was canned. Micro Machines. Remember Micro Machines? So good.
I've always felt like that should have an update. Like, imagine like an updated Micro Machines where you're just in like various buildings.
Well, it was a racing game but with toy cars. So you would be racing. Your tracks were like a breakfast table, and you'd be like swerving around cereal, or you'd be on like an office table, or swerving around pens and sharpenings and that kind of thing. Sometimes, I'll be honest, I'm so desperate for an update. If I'm in the back of an Uber, I get the map out, pretend I'm playing Micro Machines, just watch the little car, get a little tiny car going around. Great fun. The Revenge of Shinobi. Do you ever play this?
Yeah, wasn't that really hard?
It was super hard. Yeah. So that was a sequel to Shinobi, which was on the Master System. But it was the first Shinobi game for the Mega Drive. And in these games, you play a ninja who must avenge his master and save his bride from criminal forces by doing somersaults and throwing shuriken. And it was incredibly difficult. There were 12 games in the Shinobi series. And the graphics and the gameplay were incredible, and the animation was incredible as well. In particular, this super awesome opening, again, up there with flashbacks, one of the best Mega Drive game openings.
I was to love the text scrolls in those games to explain it all in one. In 1895, this happened, and now this happened, and that's where you are now.
It's always a needlessly complicated backstory for these actually quite simple games. Obviously, that doesn't translate very well to audio, but it's basically a close-up of a ninja. He's like deflecting ninja stars with his sword.
And then that was incredible.
Incredible. And a weird bit of trivia about The Revenge of Shinobi. In one level, you fight Spider-Man. Was a boss, just a boss in the middle of the game.
What, Spider-Man's a baddie?
Yeah, I don't really know why.
Can you really start with a baddie and then...
Toe Jam and Earl?
No.
Never heard of Toe Jam and Earl? Oh, so basically, it was the adventures of two alien rappers.
Oh, they are rappers.
They are rappers, yeah, exactly. The alien rappers, though, they travel all over Earth using elevators that transport them through space to recover pieces of their spaceship so they can return to their home planet, Funkatron. And it was a very funny game. It was kind of loved for its sense of humour and its jazzy soundtrack. The Strike games, you remember these?
No.
So there was Desert Strike in 1992, which was...
I've only played like 4 games.
So Desert Strike was like a shoot-'em-up where you command a helicopter in the Persian Gulf. It was followed by sort of variations on the theme Jungle Strike in 93, Urban Strike in 94, and there were actually 2 more games not on the Mega Drive. So there was Soviet Strike on the Sega Saturn and Nuclear Strike on the PS1 and N64.
And then Sam Strike.
and then Sam Strike, where you play as the ex-EastEnders actor, desperately trying to find new roles in Hollywood. And another game that James Bond 007, The Duel. I'm a big James Bond fan. I never actually played this game, but the reason I bring it up is because it's technically it was released 4 years after License to Kill came out, but it's technically the last sort of Bond outing for Timothy Dalton because his image appears in the game. So it's technically Timothy Dalton Bond's
his license.
Yeah. It's a bit like how we've talked about this before. Everything or Nothing, the James Bond game on the PS2. It's a great game, and actually,
Bromholm's last.
Recorded by Pierce Brosnan after Die Another Day came out.
Better than Die Another Day,
and it's much better than Die Another Day. But it's not just like the fact that Die Another Day wasn't a very good movie, and this is a great game. Like the cast is better. I don't know what they're thinking. It's like they got them
Willem Dafoe. Was it?
Willem Dafoe was the villain in the game, and it's like, what are you getting in the movie?
Shannon Elizabeth was the.
Shannon Elizabeth, Heidi Klum, like much higher, sort of bigger names than were in the movie. Very strange. Everything or Nothing. It's a great game.
Good morning, Q.
007, we have some new equipment for you. Have you met my new assistant, Miss Nagai?
I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
And you won't if I have any say in the matter. Now, pay attention, 007.
This is your remote control spider cam. You can use it to scout ahead.
A spy disguised as a spider? Frightening.
And finally, there was an X-Men game in 1993. And I only bring this up because it was my brother's first exposure to X-Men. He didn't really know anything about X-Men before this. And after playing it, he thought that Jean Grey was a Frenchman called Jean Grey. And I was like, she's got long hair, it's a ponytail. And he argued with me, this point with me. He's like, it's Jean Grey. Jean Grey, couldn't accept it for years. I'm sure Famke Janssen and Sophie Turner would have something to say about that. But anyway. So, that's kind of it. So, the Mega Drive was followed by the Sega Saturn in 1994, then the Sega Dreamcast in 1998.
Underrated, the Dreamcast.
Yeah, that was Sega's final home video console because the rise of the PlayStation just kind of did in Sega completely. So the first PlayStation was released in 94, which was a month after the Saturn came out, and then the PlayStation 2 arrived in 2000. But the Dreamcast was already out, but no one cared. Everyone was just like, when's the PlayStation 2 coming out? Sega couldn't compete, so they just decided to stop making hardware and to focus on making games.
So I was just reading up on the Genesis or the
Mega Drive.
So the word Genesis is just a symbol of lame, really. I quite like Genesis, the band, but they're not the coolest band of all time.
They're not.
And then Terminator Genesis, no.
Yeah.
But apparently, the Sega management wanted a stronger name. And after reviewing more than 300 proposals, the company settled on Mega Drive. But in North America, the name was just changed to Genesis. The reason for this change is not known, but it may have been due to a trademark dispute. So
there you go. But there we go. That proves that Mega Drive should be the name. They literally went, Genesis is a bit lame. No. Call it the Mega Drive.
Apparently, it was originally going to they were developing a console referred to as the Mark V. It was going to be called Mark V for ages, and then they were like, "No,
that's incredibly boring. Call it the Mega Drive."
But did you know what they did to prolong the life of the Mega Drive?
No.
because they kept bringing out these peripherals, these add-ons, which you would plug into
your console.
So you had the Sega CD,
I do
which
remember
was
that.
a separate thing, but you had to have the Mega Drive for it to work.
Yeah.
So you'd shove it on the side like it's mating.
So you'd put CDs in there instead of cartridges.
But the games weren't known. They were trying to do the whole full motion video and stuff like that, and it just didn't really work.
Hey, you still don't have a Sega CD? Huh? What are you waiting for? Nintendo to make one? You have seen the games, right? Wrong answer, man. Show them. Want to see more?
And then they brought out, to make it even longer, to try and catch up with like other...
The slow death of the Mega Drive.
It was the Sega 32X, which you put on top of it. So I'll show you a picture.
Have you got a picture of all of it together?
I'll show you it now. So it looks like that.
What a monstrosity.
Life support.
It looks like you've got a Mega Drive, you've then put a CD player next to it, and then maybe
a toilet on top,
and then you've put a toilet on top.
It looks like a toilet.
Yeah.
It's just...
What a mess that is.
But for that, I think the 32X you had to have the CD as well. I might be wrong.
Right.
But so you had to have all these things, and each one probably cost...
And also, it doesn't look like they're plugged in. It looks like that last bit is just balanced precariously on top of your Mega Drive.
Yeah, very strange.
No.
But I wanted to mention what I assume is the worst Genesis game ever made.
Right.
Which was Shaq Fu.
What's Shaq Fu? Is it as in Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Shaquille O'Neal, a.k.a. Shaquito Bounty Hunter, enforcer of justice, register, lethal weapon, right foot, size 22, register lethal weapon. This is your target.
Introducing Shaq Fu, Kung Fu Shaq style. The Sega Genesis and Super NES.
It features former professional basketball player Shaquille O'Neal, also known as Shaq, as a playable character. It was met with mixed responses from the critics upon release, though it has been considered one of the worst video games of all time. A sequel, Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn, is in development.
What?
Yeah.
You know what? The Shaq. I know he was a great basketball player and that, but he got away with a lot of shit.
Yeah,
Shaq
shit
Fu,
rapping.
Terrible rapping, Steel, the movie Steel. Yeah. He got away with a lot of like everything he did peripherally around the basketball was dreadful. He's lucky he was a really good basketball player.
In the game storyline, Shaquille O'Neal walks into a dojo while heading to a charity basketball game in Tokyo, Japan. After speaking with Liutsu, a martial arts master, Shaq goes to another dimension, the second world, where he must rescue a young boy named Nizu from the evil mummy Set Ra.
It wouldn't happen now. They wouldn't have Wayne Rooney goes into a different dimension.
It sort of did happen. Do you remember 50 Cent's video game?
What was it called?
It was called 50 Cent Blood on the Sand.
Yeah, but he wasn't like... I thought he was just like playing a character. I didn't think he was actually in it as 50 Cent.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The streets taught him who he could trust.
Get a 7 dirty, I'm riding dirty.
And gave him the skills to survive.
I'm riding for real. How you like me now?
But far from home, trouble finds him. Now, he must play by a new set of rules to reclaim what's his and escape with his life.
1G, 2G, 3G, 4, 10G, you hustler ball. Yeah, you can say I'm one smart black ball. Name Curtis Jackson, but my life
50 Cent. Blood on the Sand. This November, everything is on the line.
It revolves around rapper 50 Cent. Game is set in an urban war zone in an unnamed Middle Eastern country where 50 Cent and G-Unit have been hired to play a rap concert. After the concert promoter, Anwar, is unable to pay them $10 million in cash he promised, but relents after being threatened. However, instead of the cash they were promised, he gives them a diamond and pearl encrusted human skull, bearing a striking resemblance to a platinum cast diamond encrusted skull by artist Damien Hirst. This is promptly stolen by a paramilitary group led by terrorist Kamal. 50 Cent, with the help of a selected G-Unit partner of your choice, decides to get it back at any cost, and soon they find out there's a much bigger enemy than Kamal. So they're like
fighting terrorists.
Yeah.
Wait, where was it set?
In the Middle East.
No.
Yeah.
You find him in the club, not in the Middle East. Not in the Middle East.
So that was 2009. So it still happens, but I think that single-handedly sort of ruined his. This is a sequel
to
50 Cent Bulletproof. What the hell? The story revolves around protagonist hip-hop musician 50 Cent's search for vengeance against the hitmen who attempted to murder him.
But that actually happened, you know that? Like, he actually got shot in real life.
The game features members of the G Unit rap crew as a gang. Dr. Dre plays an arms dealer, Eminem plays a corrupt police officer, and DJ Who Kid plays himself as a person selling bootleg music.
Of course, DJ Who Kid.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, did Shaq Fu teach us nothing?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to Shaq Fu too.
Right, well that was surreal. That is it for another episode of Two Geeks, Two Beers and a Laptop. Thank you for listening. As always, got any suggestions for topics for future episodes, you can email us at podcast@twogeeks2beers.com,
and you can recommend beers that we might look at and go, that'll work for
that actually works. Yeah, well done. And you can contact us also on Twitter and Facebook, both at 2geekscast. Go to 2geeks2beers.com. All our old episodes are there.
It's on iTunes.
And on iTunes, yeah. Alright, well, to play us out for this episode, this is, again, another amazing piece of music from Streets of Rage 2. This is the end credits theme. It's really happy and nice. So until next time, enjoy another Yuzo Koshiro classic.